Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Patrice, and this year I decided that it was time for me to start living a much more sustainable lifestyle. Last year, especially being on TikTok, I learned so much about the negative impact that we are having on the environment, on the planet in general, on ourselves, and I just knew that it was time for me to start making a difference. I feel like now I have the tools to be able to do that, and so I am basically going to be documenting my living more sustainably journey for 2025 and beyond, because I feel like it's really important to show this, especially as someone I'm technically in the beginner phase of this, and sometimes it can feel really overwhelming when you want to be more sustainable, but you don't really know how, or you feel as though that person, they can be a bit more sustainable because they have this much more knowledge than I do and they have these resources and blah, blah, blah. And so me still being a beginner, I want to show you guys, the things that I'm learning, the mistakes that I've made, the positive changes that I've made. I want to document that all. So I hope that you join me on this journey. This video is going to be all about menstrual products, period products. Let me just take you back to the beginning of my kind of like period journey. So I started my period when I was 12 years old, and I grew up in a Caribbean household. My mum is Jamaican, and it was never a thing to wear tampons. She always said to me, don't use those things. They're not good for you. Use pads, use pads. Tampons, they can cause TSS, toxic shock syndrome. And so that kind of like scared me. And I was just like, do you know what? Let me not use tampons. Let me just stick with pads. And I did stick with pads until maybe about 19 or 20 years old. So for the first 7 years of my periods, I was just using pads. So I did have a few issues with pads where, they would move, I would leak, things like that. And so I was just like, do you know what? Let me try tampons because it seems that it holds it holds the blood a lot easier. So I basically used tampons all throughout my 20s. And during that time, I really noticed my periods started to get really painful. And I went to the doctors about it. They done their usual, go on the pill. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And I did end up going back and having a scan, and everything seemed absolutely fine. So I was a bit unsure why I was still having these problems, because my periods weren't necessarily heavy. They were just super painful, to the point where every month I would have to take painkillers for the pain. I would get headaches, my back would hurt. Luckily, I wasn't one of those girls that would like faint or, be physically sick. I was quite lucky in that sense. But yeah, just the uncomfortable pain and like having to go to work and act like everything's okay. It was basically a shit show. And so over the last few years, I have learned so much about, the fact that there's toxins in these conventional period products that we use. So think tampons, the pads that we're using, they actually contain a lot of plastics in them. And I was really concerned that, maybe this is what is having an effect on me, because ultimately I started using these products when I was 12 years old. And when I came to this realization, I was probably maybe 30 or 31. So that's a good 18 years of me using these products. That is a very long time. And, there's been all of these studies saying that a lot of these products contain metals as well. And even though it might be like a small amount, obviously that over an extended period of time can become quite a lot. And currently, there's no like long-term study into this. So back to the metals that can be found in some of these products, it actually includes things like arsenic, lead, iron, nickel, copper, and mercury. Now, we actually absorb a lot of these things just in our day-to-day activities, through our food, through our water, even through our clothes as well. But again, like I said, it's the long-term effect that I'm more concerned with. And maybe, it has started to have an effect on our bodies, all of these microplastics and everything. Who knows? But yeah, it's the long-term exposure that I would say is probably the thing that we should be most concerned about. And when it comes to periods, obviously, for most people that have a period, they have a period every month. So 12 times out of the year, you are having a period. And that's a long time, especially when you're using these products that have all of these toxins in them. So when I made the decision, I'm going to stop using these, I actually did try to use a menstrual cup. That did not go well. So I read the instructions, I read them again, and I was like, okay, cool, this is how you put it in. Put it in, it was absolutely fine. Didn't have any issues with it, it didn't hurt, nothing. But then when it came to trying to take it out, I don't know what was going on there, but it just felt like I couldn't grab the end part of it. It's like this little extra bit on the bottom of it that you have to pull out. That's the way that you basically get it out of your vagina. And I'm not even joking, I just couldn't get it out. I was trying for a good while. Bearing in mind, this was in the morning before I was due to go to work because I wore it to bed. So in the morning, I was like, okay, cool. I can take it out, rinse it, wash it, do whatever I need to do, and put it back in for my work day. I did not get to work at 9 a.m. I had to go to bloody A&E for someone to take it out. It was so embarrassing. Like, I know obviously I shouldn't be embarrassed of that because, shit happens. But yeah, it was really awkward because, like, the way that they just got it out quite easily. They did have to use not tongs. They had to use something to pull it out, basically. No one was using their hand to get it out. So that kind of made me feel better because I knew, okay, cool, it's not just me that's just being silly and is not doing it in the right way to take it out. But yeah, so after that happened, I was just like, do you know what? Let me just go back to the conventional products because I can't have that happening again. Like, I got to work maybe midday. To be fair, my manager, she basically was like laughing at me. She found it hilarious. So it was absolutely fine. But I said to myself, I don't want to go through this again. So let me just go back to my usual. But instead of going back to tampons, I was like, okay, cool. Let me go back to pads. So I started using pads again. And the same thing was basically happening. My periods, even though they weren't heavy, they were very painful. And it just got to the point where I was just like, do you know what? I guess I'm just going to have to suffer. This is what I'm going to have to deal with. That is until this year when I was kindly gifted some period knickers and a period pad. They are both reusable. You can wash them. I was gifted these by a UK brand called Dans Mon Jardin Secret. And that basically means in my secret garden, which I personally feel is a really, really nice name for a period brand. So let me show you what I got. So this is the ultra absorbent and leak proof period pant or period knickers. And as you can see, these look quite big, to be honest. These are a size large. I'm a UK size 12 and these fit me perfectly. So I would say this is obviously best for anyone who has a heavy period, but also if you just want to make sure that you're secure during the nighttime, because the pad runs all the way from that front section there all the way up to the back of the pant, which I think is so good. You're not going to be leaking out of the back of this, trust me. And yes, like I said, this is reusable. You can wash it, you can use it again and again, which is obviously really good, not only to save yourself some money, but also just for the environment as well, because you are going to create less waste. Another reason that I love these as well is the fact that, like, I would always get really scared in the night about my pad. I'd be like, shit, is it going to move? Am I going to leak on my sheets? Am I going to have to change the bed sheets? Like, whereas with this, it is leak proof. And again, because it's the super absorbency, you don't have to worry about that, which I think is is really important, because I used to hate when I would wake up and I would almost have like a panic attack. I'd be like, oh shit, did I leak on the bed? When you've like jumped out of the bed to see whether you leaked or not. With this, you're not going to have that issue, which is really, really good. I also got this is their period pad, and this is the ultra absorbent one as well. So this you can just put in your in your knickers, and it's got the attachment at the back, a hook. It acts as a normal sanitary towel basically. But yes, again, this is the super absorbent one, and so this would be really good for anyone who has heavy periods, or on the day when your period is the most heavy. And also with this, it's so comfortable. Like, I actually just hate the way that pads just feel like in my knickers. It's just uncomfortable. But this, because of the material that's used, it doesn't feel as uncomfortable as normal conventional pads. And also, you don't have to worry about the sticky bits getting caught on anything down there. You know, sometimes the sticky bit might get caught on your like pubic hair. You don't have to worry about that with this, because it is literally a clasp that you just hook around your knickers. So nothing's gonna get caught up in anything down there. So let's talk about the brand. So the founder started the brand because she was basically sick and tired of the lack of eco-friendly period products, and basically wanted to create products that were sustainable, that were better for the environment, and that were comfortable as well. So the brand actually has multiple pants. So it's not just these that I've shown you. They do actually have a lot more on their website. So like I said, this one is more for maybe like nighttime or anyone with a really heavy period. I do have other ones that have a lesser absorbency than this one. And they also have the same when it comes to the pads as well. So all of the products are washable and reusable, which means that you would essentially be doing your part to live a bit more sustainably. So one of the things that I absolutely love about this brand is that for every panty purchased, one will be donated to a girl in need. And I just think that this is so amazing. Like, it really touched my heart, especially because I think that period products should be free. I don't think anyone should be paying for that. It's something that happens in our bodies that we genuinely can't control. Girl tax is very, very real. If this was cis het men that had periods and not us, those period products would be free. Trust me. But yeah, I can just tell, just based off of that, how much effort has gone into creating this brand, and I will definitely be purchasing some additional products. Okay, so we're talking about sustainability in terms of helping reduce waste. It's better for the environment, but I want to look at the sustainability side of things when it comes to money, because you could be saving yourself a good fair amount of money. On the website, it does say that the Jardin Secret period pants can last up to 5 years. Amazing. So let's say you buy the bundle of 3 of their reusable period underwear. This costs £48, okay? Bear that in mind. And let's say you also decide to buy the bundle of reusable pads. This costs £40 and you get 3 in there. That comes to a total of £88. Now, the average woman spends about £128 a year on period products. So if we times that by 5, because we need to do the comparison with the 5 years that these period knickers can last for, the average woman spends around £640 every 5 years on period products. Now, if we take that £640, take it away from the £88 that you've paid for the 2 separate bundles that you've got from Jardin Secret, you could be saving potentially £552. The average woman menstruates for approximately 35 to 40 years. So we've only looked at 5 years. You could be saving yourself 7 times that amount. Wait, 5 times 7, 35, yes. 7 times that amount over the course of your like menstruation journey. That's a fair bit of money, guys. That really is. Why should you use sustainable period products? Well, they are much better for the environment, they reduce waste, and they will also save you money as well. Conventional period products obviously end up in landfill and generally have a negative impact on the environment. Whereas if you use reusable ones that you can use over and over again, you will be doing your part to live a bit more sustainably, which I think is super important. So guys, definitely make sure to check out Jardin Secret. I am going to be ordering another pair of period pads very soon, and I'm really excited to start my reusable, sustainable period products journey, especially because we are now aware of all of the toxins that are actually in a lot of the conventional period products. Are you going to be using sustainable period products? Let me know. Okay then guys, so thank you for watching this video. I hope that it was really insightful for you. I hope that you've learned something. And yeah, this is basically what I want to do. I just want to show my progression. I want to show my journey towards a much more sustainable life. So please make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to be coming to you with more videos as I go on in my journey. But yes, guys, I will catch you in the next one, and take care.